Hi guys, I'm Paul Wagner, and I'll be your instructor for this year's class. Napa Valley College VWT 241, Wine Marketing and Sales. One of my favorite all-time subjects to teach. I know we're going to have a lot of fun because marketing is more fun than any other part of the wine business. And if you don't believe me, just meet marketing people and then meet wine people or winemaking people and meet viticultural people, and you'll get the idea. Contact information there in front of you. Again, name is Paul Wagner. My email address at the college is pwagner@napavalley.edu. I check that 2 or 3 times a week. The one for balzac.com, which is my old company, rings right through to my phone, so that's a little easier. And then the phone number there is my landline at my house. So don't bother to text me anything there. That won't work. But at least that gives you a way if you want to try to call me and talk to me, maybe we can do that. The first lecture here is just going to talk you through the logistics of the class. So the textbook is Wine Marketing and Sales. Gosh, where did we come up with that possible title? Written by, yes, me, Janine Olson and Liz Tosh, who are 2 professors over at Sonoma State University. It's from the Wine Appreciation Guild, or the current version of that publisher is called Board and Bench. It's available at the campus bookstore sometimes. It's always available on Amazon.com, gets pretty good reviews and all the rest. Unless, in case you're thinking that I'm somehow trying to sell you a book by doing this, actually it's the other way around. This book was actually written based on my lecture notes for this class. So I'd been teaching the class for about 10 years when Janine Olson and Liz Tosh and I started talking about how we could write a book on wine marketing and sales. And the biggest challenge, both Liz and Janine admitted, was getting all this material organized. And I said, well, that's funny because I've been teaching the class for 10 years. It's all organized. I can give you the outline for my lectures, and that's exactly how the book was written. We took the outline for my lectures. Each of us chose different sections of the book to write, and it's why it's such a perfect textbook for the class. It's also a little funny because if you read the book, as you read the book, you will notice that some of the chapters are very carefully constructed with a number of academic citations, very carefully orchestrated. Those aren't the ones I wrote. The ones that I wrote are the ones that just sound like me talking. But Janine and Liz also wrote part of the book, and it should talk you through pretty much everything you need to know for the class. It is also pretty much a standard. It's used at virtually every university everywhere in the world that teaches wine marketing and sales, so that's a good thing. It's even won a couple of international awards, so good book. Some of you are very interested in grades. Others are in this class for other reasons, but that's okay either way. But if you want to get a good grade, there are 2 parts of this class that are really important for your grade. One is a midterm project, and the second one is a final. For the midterm project, you will work with a group of your fellow students on a project to market probably Napa Valley College wines. We choose a topic each year, but that's been the topic usually. And you will be expected to create an entire marketing plan, and I will talk you through what that means in a minute. But there will be a midterm. That midterm will be a group project. You will work on it in teams of 3, 4, 5 students at a time, collaborating, creating this project, and ultimately presenting it not only to me, but then ultimately presenting it to a group of, let's call them executives, members of the Napa Valley College Foundation, the college president, some of the other marketing instructors at the school, in a sort of a Shark Tank presentation in the middle of the semester. It's a fun process, but it also gives you a really good idea of what it takes to develop a marketing plan. And then there's the final. In the final, you have 2 options. One is that you simply attend the last class and take the final exam and get a grade. The final exam is a series of short answer questions. I always say if your answer doesn't fit in the space allowed, It's not the right answer. It's too long. Short answers, 30 to 50, 60 questions, depending on how I write it that year. If you attend every class, if you listen to every lecture, and you read the book, there is no way that you can fail the exam. I'm just going to tell you that right up front. I've never had a student who attended all the classes, read the book, and got anything lower than a reasonably good B on the exam. However, I also recognize that some people find taking exams stressful. And I also recognize that some people would like an additional way to approach a marketing project. And so I give you a second option, which is instead of taking the exam, you can use the template of your midterm project to create your own individual marketing plan for a program or product or company, just like the midterm, but based on something that you have a personal interest in. I do need to approve what that topic is, but I'm pretty negotiable on that stuff. So just talk it through with me and we'll figure out a way that if you want to do the final project rather than take the final exam, I'm sure we can work something out. So let's talk about this project. Again, midterm, and also for some of you, the final. And it is composed of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements. The first one is a mission statement, and trust me, we'll talk through this many, many times over the course of the semester. You will get tired of talking about this, but I just want to make sure everybody on the same page. If you haven't ever written a mission statement is an aspirational vision for the business. And in most cases, when I see people failing at writing a mission statement, it's because they're describing the business rather than writing something for the business to aspire to. So describing the business, we're a small winery in the Napa Valley. That's not a mission statement. Mission statement tells me what you're trying to do, what your dream is. And so I need to see that in the mission statement. We want to be the single best producer of Cabernet Franc in the world. That's a mission statement. We make 3 kinds of wine and we're going to sell them in retail shops. That's not a mission statement. That's a description of the business, but it doesn't tell me what you're trying to achieve, this great dream. It just says, gosh, I hope we can make a business work. That's not a mission statement. The business plan is where all of that other stuff goes. What kind of wine you're going to make, what grapes you're going to use, where you're going to get your grapes, all of that kind of stuff. How much are you going to charge for the wine? How many cases are you going to make? Or if it's a retail shop or if it's a restaurant, tell me in nice, simple 1 page what it is you expect this business to do on a daily basis. Mission statement is the dream. We want to be known as the world's best taco stand. Business plan, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to make 6 kinds of tacos. We're going to make them out of chorizo, el pastor, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Mission statement, 25 words or less. Business plan, a page. Okay? Between those two, you can probably fit them both on a page if you work. The next element is a financial projection for the next 5 years. And some of you will find this really daunting, which is why I have an Excel spreadsheet that I will give you that you can use for your midterm if you want it. And it was developed by one of the students in the class. It's a nice, simple, here's how much money we expect, here's how much revenue we expect, here's how much our costs are. That leaves us with our gross profits, we subtract out our expenses, and it gives us our net profits. Very simple. And you need to do this for 5 years because nobody's business plan ever shows you making a profit after the first 2 or 3 years. So I want to see not only how you're going to make a profit, but I want to see you grow. And again, the single biggest challenge I would say for most of these financial projections, most people take a look at this and say, geez, in order to make money, we need to be at 10,000 cases. So let's start at 3 and then go to 6 and then go to 10 and then 12 and then 15. And I want to know, how are you going to grow that fast? How can you explain that? Because selling 3,000 cases of wine is really hard. How are you going to get bigger? How are you going to get all those customers you need? So, financial projections, if you want it, ask for it, and I will send you an Excel spreadsheet that talks you through the processes. And you will need this for your midterm, so once you do it for your midterm, you should have a very clear idea, if you want to do it for your final, how to fill that out. Okay, section 4 is the market analysis and a SWOT diagram. And trust me, again, we will spend a ton of time talking about this. In fact, most of the second lecture for tonight is about the market. But market analysis simply tells me that you have decided that you're going to start a business not based on what you want to do, but rather on what the market is most interested in. And this is a huge mistake we make in the wine industry. In the wine industry, we start with, this is the land I own, this is what I like to drink, this is what grows best, this is what I want to make, and then we turn it out on the market and we say, well, why doesn't anybody want to buy it? Well, the answer is, you never asked anybody what you should do to begin with. The market analysis is how you study the market and say, wow, what's hot? What's growing? What products are doing well? What products are doing poorly? What segments of the market would be most interested in my product? We're interested in making a bourbon and wine combination in a screw cap called Crazy Man, and we're going to sell it to opera companies around the world. I'm just telling you right now, that ain't going to work. Okay, if you talk about opera, you need to go with a more traditional approach. You want to sell that to surfers, or you want to sell that to high-tech millennials, you might have a chance. But what you need to do in your market analysis is understand the market, understand where it's moving. Remember Wayne Gretzky's great line, I don't go to where the puck is, I go to where the puck is going to be. In your market analysis, you need to tell me where the market is going, and then how you're going to get there first with your product, rather than just simply doing what everybody else does and wondering why it isn't selling very well. And the SWOT diagram, and again, we will spend a whole lecture on this, so don't worry if you don't understand what a SWOT diagram is. SWOT diagram, the 4 letters, very simple, strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Strengths and weaknesses are inside your company. Opportunities and threats are outside your company. But basically, it's a way for you to understand how you as a company, you as a brand, are different from other companies. So, strength. Well, a strength is something you do better than anybody else. Please don't put that we make good wine there, because everybody makes good wine. You've got to come up with unique selling propositions, things that make you different. And we'll spend a lot of time talking about that. And then weaknesses, things that you're not very good at. Interestingly enough, for most marketing people, any strength ultimately is a weakness, and vice versa. So, strength, we're a very small company. We react very, very quickly. Weakness, we're a very small company. We've got no leverage in the marketplace. Those are both legitimate things to have on your SWOT diagram. Okay, and then opportunities, threats are outside the company. Again, don't worry about understanding all of this tonight or all of this today. We will spend an entire lecture talking about SWOT diagrams in a couple of weeks. Okay, now that you have the foundation set, you've got your mission statement, your dream, your aspiration. We want to be this. You've got your business plan. We're going to make this kind of product. We're going to sell it for this kind of price. We're going to sell it in these places. Your financial plan that says, here's how we plan to make money. We need to make this much in terms of sales in order to achieve our goals. And then the market analysis says, and here's why we think we're going to be successful, even though other people may not be, because we're smart. We've looked at the market and we've planned ahead. Now that you have all that, the real meat of this product, and again, mission statement, 25 words, business plan, a page. Financial projections, it's a single page spreadsheet. Market analysis, SWOT diagram, maybe a page and a half or two. But then the marketing plan is, this is how you're going to make it all come true. This is what you expect in terms of advertising, promotion, events, donations, point of sale, merchandising, public relations, all that stuff, all the tactics and strategies you're going to use to make sure that people know about your product and want to buy it. Okay. Now, we'll spend a lot of time. This is most of what this class is about. So again, don't feel concerned if you think, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work. We will literally talk through every one of the items in that marketing plan over the course of the next 10 weeks. And you need in your marketing plan to have an explanation of how you're going to do each one of those things. Okay? And don't just tell me we're going to do good advertising. That's not an explanation. I want to see the ads. I want to understand why you're running that ad and not something else. I want to know why you're advertising in that publication or on that website rather than somewhere else. You need to have a strategy and explain your marketing plan, and you need to give examples. Okay? So that actually is where all the creativity comes in. To a certain extent, the first half of that marketing project is the science. It's the hard numbers, it's the analysis, it's all the data. The marketing plan is where you take all that data and then say, how can I put this together? What can I do to create this special cocktail recipe that's going to make this take off? Lots of fun, and I hope you enjoy doing it. I know most of my students really have a lot of fun talking with each other about how are we going to do this and what are we... Anyway. Last two elements are fairly simple. One is a distribution plan, which simply explains where you're going to sell your product. Are you going to sell it through the 3-tier system? Are you going to sell it only out of a van that drives up and down the street at night? Are you going to play little ice cream truck music and deliver wine to the home? You tell me how you're going to get this wine out there. Just make sure that it's capable of delivering the kind of volume you need to meet your financial projections. In other words, if you're going to sell 3,000 cases of wine, do the math. Okay, 3,000 cases of wine means roughly 10 cases a day. So how are you going to sell 10 cases a day? And talk me through that process. And then the last one is something that everybody always struggles with, because most people tell me, well, the way we're going to evaluate our plan is to see if we open and we go bankrupt, well, then it wasn't a good plan. I need to know before you go bankrupt what you're going to measure. I need to know, I need to have some numbers, some figures, some data that give me reassurance that you're going to be successful. Think of me as a bank. I want to lend you money, but I'm not going to lend you money if you say, well, we need $300,000 and at the end of 5 years, if we haven't made any money, we'll go bankrupt. That's not a plan for me. What I need is, so we expect to collect 1,000 names for our mailing list in the first 6 months. We expect to attend 12 festivals and collect business cards. I don't care what you do. I do care what you do, but you need to have a series of steps that you can measure that indicate that people are interested and that you can build that interest as a way of measuring your future success. Again, we will talk a lot about this in the coming weeks. Okay? So I know you probably have 1,000 questions on the marketing project. You can email them to me, and I'm happy to answer them. But the other side of this is we will talk through every single element of this project at least 5 times between now and the midterm, and probably after the midterm, we'll spend one more class just talking about what the midterm project did well, and if you're doing a final project, how you would do better if you focused on a couple of other things. Okay? Don't panic. Just stick with us on that one. Okay. Now, a lot of people are taking this class because they want to start their own business, or they want to start their own wine company, or they've got some plan. That's perfect. That's a great way to think about your final project. If I've always wanted to open an ice cream store, perfect. Tell me about it, set it up as your final project, and we'll work out the nuts and bolts of how you can make that happen. That's all part of teaching this class and taking this class. Okay, so if you do it right, you should end up at the end of the class with a pretty reasonable business plan, the kind of thing you could take into a bank and say, okay, I'm ready to start talking. And if you do that, you'll get a pretty good grade on the class. By the way, I have a standard policy in my classes. You give me your final project 2 weeks before the end of the semester. I will review it that week and get it back to you with 1 week to spare. Won't be graded, but it will point out where your weak points are so that you can improve it going forward. So I'm not asking you to fly blind in any of this. 2 weeks before the end of class, send me that project and I will make some comments. I'll suggest where you need to fix things that are unrealistic or simply parts that are missing, and you still have at least a week to try to fill that out before you have to turn it in for your final grade. Pretty fair. Okay, now, this is the fine print for the college. These are our course objectives, and you also get a printed sheet on this, but you will understand and demonstrate knowledge of basic wine marketing and sales methods. You will understand wine types from California and world wine producing districts. You will have a rough idea of applicable federal, state, and local regulations. We'll talk a little bit about compliance. Now, the college has, over the years, offered a course on compliance. It's about 6 or 8 weeks long. We won't spend that much time talking about it, but at least I will make you aware of the fact that if you're going to start a career in the alcoholic beverage business, you probably need to make the acquaintance of a compliance attorney. You will show a knowledge of sources for subject matter research materials. In other words, where to find the information you need in order to do this job well. You will be asked to provide technical writing on appropriate subject matter, from tasting notes to wine fact sheets to advertising to press releases. You're going to talk about all that stuff and show me you can do it. Interpersonal skills required in the workplace, whether that's working in your midterm project or whether it's presenting to the group, all of those are part of this class. And ultimately just skills required in the workplace, whether that's working on PowerPoint or whether that's having fun with some graphic design things or working with Excel, all of that kind of stuff you need to know if you're going to work in the business. Okay? Those are the course objectives as defined by the college. We will meet those. And then a little bit of fine print here. I'm not going to read this out loud. You can read it. You can stop the lecture and just read this in all its great detail, but this is what we call the fine print. You need to show up for class. If you don't show up for class, you get in trouble. And if you don't show up in class a lot, you probably get dropped or lose priority. If you have a learning disability, the college has programs that will help you, and I would strongly encourage you to seek those out. Let me know. I'm happy to help you do that. I'm 100% supportive of those with learning disabilities who want to take this class. And then finally, other physical or other disabilities, there is also a program at the college to give you assistance. And again, I am fully committed to making sure you'll be successful in this class if you have any concerns about that. That is the total first lecture. The next part of the class will be the second lecture on the U.S. market and what it's doing. And in order to do that, we need to switch tapes. So happy you joined me here. I'll put up one final slide, which is my contact information one more time. Give me a shout. Talk to me. I'm happy to help, and we'll see you at the next lecture, and we'll talk to you soon.